We went and saw D&D Honor Among Thieves. We're going to give you our thoughts.
And your own thoughts.
We're going to give you yours.
Yes.
Give in to the propaganda machine.
Conform.
Give in. Give in. Give in. Give in. Give in. Give in.
Power within.
The power within. The power within. The power within. The power within. Yeah.
And we're back. So, the movie. The D&D movie. Honor Among Thieves movie.
Not our D&D movie.
No.
Our D&D movie has been fun.
Go watch Mini Melee right now. It's on the YouTube channel. Timesweeps. Well, we don't have a specific link. Go to Timesweeps.
30 more subscribers.
Hopefully it's fixed by then.
Spread this to 30 of your closest friends so that way we can get 30 more subscribers, and then we can have an official link.
Yeah. Make 30
Please help.
accounts. You won't. Make 30 accounts.
I'll give you $1
You won't.
for 30 accounts.
Please don't. That's against TOS. Please don't.
You won't. No
For them to
balls.
make 30 accounts, or for me to offer to give them $1 for that?
I think it's for us to pay them, yeah. Because it'd be manipulating analytics. I don't know.
If I give them a sticker, does that still count as payment?
It still counts as a transaction, yes.
But it would be goods and services versus an economic gain. It's a sticker.
Anyway,
They could sell the sticker.
this I thought the movie was good.
It was pretty good,
Yeah, it would have been a standalone movie without the D&D name, which I think is a good sign for it. That it would have been a successful working fantasy movie without the D&D name.
Right.
Granted, there's a lot of things that rely on
And,
D&D.
like there's obviously like they use actual like D&D world locations like Baldur's Gate, what is it?
Neverwinter.
Neverwinter. Isn't Neverwinter like an MMO now?
No.
No, okay.
I don't think so. Bless you.
Thank you. As far as I know, it's just a location in the Forgotten Realms,
In the
Faerun,
Forgotten
Sword
Realm-
Coast,
okay.
and stuff like that.
Okay. And then like I was about to say, I was like, I swear to God, if they go to Baldur's Gate, I'm gonna be so mad.
Went to the Underdark too.
Yeah, they actually went to the Underdark, and we got to see a little bit of that,
And we got to see
or a little bit of like
dragon.
considerable Underdark, like glow in the dark, fluorescent fauna
The
Right.
orifice.
or flora. Excuse me.
I really don't understand where all the negative reviews were coming from now that I've seen the movie myself.
It was from critics.
Like, well, no, I was saying, like, creators giving this movie bad reviews.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I don't really listen to.
what were they saying though?
They were saying like it was a bunch of the same joke over and over again. And
Arguably, I could get that, but it's still.
and they were
works,
like
so
it was like
okay.
it just wasn't funny. Like they were like, this movie just wasn't funny.
Now that one just sounds like a hipster.
That's bullshit. This movie's hilarious.
Yeah, there's parts in it that are 100%. It's like I could see someone be like, "I'm more mature than you. It's not that funny."
Right.
My favorite movie is Taxi Driver.
Yeah. Shut
Like-
your mouth.
And like that kind of stuff. It's like,
movie ever is Dick Tracy.
I would believe that guy more than like, and it's not the best of movie like Dick Tracy, but like there's something about like the type of crowd that's like, my favorite movie is Taxi Driver. Thank you, good day. And it's like, Taxi Driver's a good movie, but I need you to calm down, son.
Yeah.
Even Robert De Niro would say, "Shut up."
Right. There's a level of pretentiousness that I can see coming out of people.
Yeah. But they were just like, it's the same joke over and over again.
Which joke were they talking about?
I don't even know what joke they were talking about because they weren't specific. They were just like, it's just them doing the same joke. Or
They kind of point out that What's His Nuts is sad and can't have a relationship that throughout the movie.
Another example was it was like the joke is that they go to do something and then they can't do it.
It's like that's
Like,
just
have you ever played D&D ever? Like that's the whole
that's
game.
kind of the joke of D&D.
right.
It's
I
and
wanna
even
do
if that
this.
is the joke of the entire movie, that's kind of what moves the plot along.
Right.
It's not so much a joke, but as much as a sign of the way that these characters work.
Right. And
It's also based off of D&D campaign.
is it based off of someone's actual campaign? No, right?
As far as I know, yeah, it was its own individual story.
Right.
Well, yeah, but like people can play along with it, right?
Yeah, they've done stuff that you can now like interact with the story. They've basically released all the magic items, the characters, and then if you know the story, you can go from there.
Oh, I thought it was just like a Forgotten Realms type. I thought it was like based off of something that like.
Oh, as far as I know,
Like
they
a-
haven't based
like
it
a
off
pre-built.
of anything.
Oh no.
No.
Oh.
There's stuff from a bunch of modules.
Yeah,
but-
Okay.
like the
Okay.
fat dragon is
Okay.
a thing.
Okay. Cool.
References
his
to
name.
places.
Okay.
Thermochode.
From what
Thermochode.
from what
That's what I keep calling.
Thermochode.
he's a thermobaric chode.
I'm gonna call him Penguin Boy.
Girth.
Girth Brooks.
His name is just Girth.
I'm gonna call him
He's a
Chubby.
country artist named Garth Brooks.
Oh, I'm aware of that.
His name is Girth Brooks.
I'm just
Girth
gonna call the
Brooks.
dragon Girthy.
Girthy Boy.
It's
Girth
Thermo
the ma-
something.
That was
Girth
like funny
the
without
man.
it supposed to be. I was it supposed to be funny because that was just hilarious to be that whole sequence.
Oh yeah, like if that wasn't supposed to be funny, I don't know anymore. I don't know
Right.
who wrote that and was like, this is a serious scene for serious things. Fat dragon falls and rolls over like a pug.
Right.
Like that. Like the dragon did barrel rolls on like, but not in the sense of flying.
Yeah,
So he
just
just-
to get around.
He rolled around like a fucking roly poly.
This dragon was a
like-
butterball turkey.
Yeah, he
That's
like
exactly
whenever I
right.
first saw the nose, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be epic. And then I saw his like face, and his neck just continued to get thicker. I'm like, oh my god, it's chubby.
It's like
It's thick.
an overly domesticated house cat.
Right.
It's like fucking Garfield, but in dragon form.
So, the movie starts off with Chris Pine's character. He's in some order,
The Harpers.
the Harpers, like it's some like society.
Very Barty paladin.
Right. And then he decides that he can't support his family off of what he's making there, so he starts being a thief boy.
Yeah, he starts stealing gold, which, yeah, it divulges from there.
Steals from the wrong people. People kill his wife.
Baby, he has, his daughter.
Right.
That's a hinge point for that little moment. That his wife hides the baby in like a wall panel. Because apparently, these are red wizards, quote unquote. That is a thing from
Mhm.
an earlier thing, as I understand it as well.
Okay.
And for somehow, the red wizards didn't notice that there was just crying in a wall.
Right.
So they must have just not cared.
The the red wizard who detected the fly was listening to them.
I think it was two different red wizards, but yeah, like
Yeah,
they have
like,
that capability.
the
They have
power.
that power.
That made me laugh.
Dude, that scene.
That made me laugh.
Oh yeah, spoilers by the way.
Yeah, it's inevitably going to get into spoilers. It's going to be like a hit or miss type thing that we're talking about, like just here and there.
Yeah.
It's going to be kind of jumpy, but
Right.
that's what these movie reviews have become.
And then we get he starts thieving, wife dies, and then they get sent on the quest to get a resurrection tablet.
Yeah, Tablet of Resurrection.
Well, the wife dies, then he meets a barbarian who's played by Michelle
Rodriguez.
right? Yeah. And then they start
The
stealing.
party comes together.
The
Yeah.
party comes together, and then they go on the quest for the tablet of Ricola.
Yes, Ricola.
Ricola. Is it
It's
Re-
just
Resurrection. Tablet of Resurrection.
Tablet of Resurrection? And then they get captured, right?
Yeah, there's a time distortion spell that was going to like stop all these things from happening, but they were caught in it. Him and the Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez.
Tholga? Was that her name?
Holga.
Holga.
I think. But they get caught in it. The other people in the party make it away. But he told his daughter that I was going to go on a mission or a little thieving thing.
I know who Holga reminds me of now.
Yeah?
Drax.
Fair. I
Drax
guess that.
isn't as intelligent, I don't think.
No, but
she,
still-
That's the thing, though. He's supposed to be. And in the first
Right.
movie, he is.
yeah.
Because he was basically like autistically coded.
Right.
between Guardians 1 and 2. People got upset. Like, why'd you make Drex dumb instead of autistic?
God, why'd you make me dumb instead of autistic? But yeah, so they get captured, and then we're in the prison.
Yeah, we meet up in the prison. Actually, that's where we started.
Start off.
We actually get a really cool scene of like this. I don't know what he was. I think a bugbear.
I think it was an orc.
He didn't have orc features though.
He had the tusks.
But bugbears have tusks. His nose is what makes me think bugbear.
hominid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the name is kind of. They're a goblinoid. They're like
Okay.
just the biggest one.
Gotcha.
I think it was a bugbear
Maybe.
because he wasn't green.
We can look at the credits.
No.
True. Orcs are green.
Right.
So I think, yeah, one way or another, we meet this
was
large
something.
hominid guy.
Right.
I'll add it.
We'll figure it out. Our opening sequence to him is getting his knees broken, and then Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez, they're like, we're going to the council to talk about and make our plea deal.
For the pardon.
Yeah, to try and get out. And they get pardoned.
But
Right.
But they still go by their old plan because they didn't know that they would actually be pardoned.
Right.
It involves an Eric Cochran named Jonathan.
Jonathan. I really thought that Jonathan was going to be here. He was going to help plead our case. No,
I just can't tell this story without Jonathan here.
Jonathan's really going to like this next part.
Just like throughout the opening sequence, he just keeps talking about Jonathan, trying to be
This
like,
is a
hey,
good
need Jonathan.
time to shout out the practical effects being
Yeah.
used in this film.
I was going to say, they posted about the Eric Cochran suit, like, today.
Yeah.
Like, real early this morning, and, like, getting to look at it and, like, the wings opening up and everything. And that's
Well,
a
even
solid
yeah,
costume.
right. Even the Dragonborn's heads that we got to see in the hands.
those heads were thick. I didn't realize Dragonborns look
Oh, they're big.
like
They're
their heads
thick
were
boys.
thick.
Yeah, they're big people.
The only costumes that were practical that I thought looked weird were the tabaxi. Because it's just like they
Even
look.
that fish looked practical.
Yeah, the fish was definitely
Yeah.
practical.
So the Tabaxi are the cat people, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They looked too house catish to me.
Right.
Like they looked like a house cat costume versus like a cat person costume. You know what I mean?
Well, and
It looks like a furry.
Speaking of
rather than
Eric-
an actual
Eric-
cat.
Yeah, they looked like
Like-
a really high res furry.
rather than a Khajiit from Skyrim.
Yes.
Okay.
Eric Cocker, as I was looking at him the other day, and they only lived to like 30-something years old.
Yeah.
I
They
didn't know
reach
that.
maturity at like 7.
3.
3?
It's 3 years.
I thought it was like
old,
a
their
little
maturity. Mm-mm.
Man.
Yeah,
Well,
that's about
it sucks to suck.
That's about as long as some birds can live. So,
True.
but there's a lot of birds that live a long time.
It's like Eric Cocker is in your campaign, and he just goes, "Well, I was born yesterday."
So at the age of 2, I remember going to school.
Right.
It's crazy.
No,
Next
it's
day
wild.
you're in kindergarten, and literally now I've graduated, and now I'm fighting a demi-lich. It's
Mhm.
crazy.
It's like the B movie where he's like, 3 days of high school, 3 days of elementary school, 2 days of middle school, 4 days of high school. Like,
What is this?
I had to take a day off in the middle just to catch up. Like, it's like, I feel like that's the life of Eric Cockras, which I saw. My buddy sent me speaking of bees, my buddy sent me a homebrew of a bee race the other day. It was pretty cool.
Interesting.
Like it basically was a reskin of the Thrycreen,
Right.
but they had like other things like hive mind. They could do stuff with that.
You think there'd be more bug people in the end?
Right.
It feels like that would be such like a large thing that people would end up making more of. But it's always just straight up like kind of like normal animal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's always like, I want as much hair as possible. Or like, I'm a snake.
I'm a snake. I'm a hippo. I'm an elephant.
And we did get to see a snake person in that opening sequence.
Yeah,
too,
he
for a
was
quick
in
second.
prison. Yeah.
He was one of the. I don't remember what stage it is, and now I
I
can't.
know, but aren't they like gods almost? Like these snake people? Like they're really
Not
strong?
exactly. They're really strong, but like
Yeah.
there's variables to it because there's also
Yeah.
different levels of this snakiness.
Right. I think like because there's like just the scaly person, then there's the person with the snake head, and then there's the snake head with the snake bottom too.
Yeah, there's one that's like a lady with just like a snake body, very Medusa-esque, but normal hair. So like a centaur, but a snake. And
Ugh.
they're supposed to be kind of like, I think they're top of the line.
Mm.
And then there's just, yeah. This was one of the ones that had like a cobra-style head,
Right.
but like a person body.
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember what they're called for some reason. I
I think
put
it starts with an A as well.
I put myself on the spot, and I can't remember what they're called.
Anacondan?
No.
No,
I mean, that would work.
it would, but I think that's what they used in Ninjago.
You're saying D&D wouldn't use...
Oh, it's not, doesn't
Yuan-ti.
start with A. Yeah.
Different vowel.
It was
Completely different.
Yeah, in Ninjago, the purple Pythor, he was called an Anacondron or something like that.
Yeah.
Anacondri. Something like that. Ninjago. Besides the point of what we're talking about, we get to meet the team very early on in the movie, so that way it's not like a making the team movie, but more of like a classic heist movie where it's like we got to get the band back together
Right.
and convincing everybody to be like, I'm in.
So they shove this Eric Cocker out the window, and they're like, "Fly, bird, fly," and he flies and gets knocked out. And they go home to try to find their people.
Yeah, Chris Pine tries to go find his daughter, but she's been, taken care of by someone else for a while.
Ford, we got to meet him earlier in the movie, and he was actually said, "Take care of my daughter for me," as he threw him the tablet
Right.
in the earlier scene.
He ends up, through being a con man, becoming the Lord of Neverwinter.
Mm-hmm. And he
And-
he's bringing back the games. What were they called?
The Summerlight Games?
Something like
Summer
that.
something.
Yeah.
Because they're big maze with monsters
Mm-hmm.
and death. Mostly death.
Mostly death.
It leads into that, and then you get like a whole thing of like his daughter thought that he tried to run away because that's what Forge told her.
Right. To get the tablet of riches and not the tablet of resurrection.
All these little things. And then once the daughter leaves the room, they basically put him under arrest.
Right.
Helga and Edgin.
Mm-hmm.
Edgin? Yeah.
Yeah. Because they call him Ed. But the Red Wizard that trapped him first, and doesn't he realize that he reveals that he wanted to trap Ed and the sorcerer, not Ed and Holga. Because that was a
the
trap
sorcerer
on
was supposed to be
purpose.
part of it too.
Right. But he got away, but it was revealed that they were trapped on purpose to get caught for some reason.
They needed them out of the picture.
Right. And then they get kicked out.
Yeah, they were going to be arrested and
Mhm.
executed in a back alley.
Right.
But Holga saves the day with a brick.
With a brick.
With a brick and knowledge of weapons.
Yeah, distracts the guard by talking
she
about
rolled.
an axe.
She rolled really high on her insight.
What was I going to say? I don't remember. Chris Pine's character kind of does nothing for a minute.
He's trying to get
He's-
out.
yeah,
of
he's
his-
trying to get out of the
He continues
rope.
to roll threes on his escape.
Yes. He eventually cuts out of him, and then he picks
Maybe
up
there's
his
some sharper
loot.
stairs, stairs around here.
His loot is metal plated on the back, and he bashes people with it.
Yeah.
That is his move. No
'Cause-
spells, no nothing.
Yeah,
like
he's
that.
not. He's not a bard in this.
He's kind of more of a spy, more like a
I'd say he's more of like a rogue,
But yeah, like a rogue. Yeah.
almost.
I was thinking he's more like that fighter archetype.
Maybe a fighter.
He
yeah.
just kind of does whatever
But
he's needed to do.
he also he's more spy-like because the whole point of the Harpers is you masquerade as bards and you kind of are bards, but you're
they're,
not.
Yeah, they're
you-
bards.
You are more reconnaissance than you canvass areas, try to find out information and stuff like that. So
I kind of took away that seemed more like that the Harpers are a known thing, and that's just how he was tasked. So
I don't know.
they gave him the task of finding information about
because
criminals.
he could talk good. He had a high
Unlike me.
charisma.
Which, I mean, if they're a bard, I'd hope they'd have.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Well, see, I'm wondering if they ever do a second one, if he's gonna have some magic spells he can do with his loot, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe he went to bard college.
Yeah. It felt weird that there wasn't something there for him to do spells with.
Right.
Or there was moments of he would give a speech and it would bring everybody back together, and that happens more than once.
Mm-hmm.
That he's just progressively always getting them to be like, hey, we could do this.
Right.
And that is very nice to see, but at the same time it's I want to see him just shoot at spells.
What my favorite thing throughout the whole movie is that every time I would watch the combat, I'd see who's shooting and and it was pretty damn close to being like in sequence. Other than like reactionary shit, which would make sense.
Right.
It was pretty damn close to being in sequence. And I loved that.
I noticed in some, like, thinking about it though, it's like some of those scenes that would be hard to know if it was truly in sequence by like person, like roll order in combat.
Yeah.
Just because those knights are all dressed the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like when it came to the witch fight, it makes sense that it's like that even like movie wise, just because for cinematics, you're gonna want it to be more one by one. But it seemed to go in a circle is the thing.
It seemed like to go from like each character in an order every time they would do something. One, boom, 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 boom. It was awesome. I was like, oh my god, it's turn-based.
They were either fighting or they were actually trying to get back to the fight because something else happened.
Exactly.
Or they were plotting something that just takes us a few seconds of time to go do.
Yeah.
Right.
So they were like using movement speed and stuff and taking that. Like whoever wrote the movie, no. You know what I'm thinking? You know, it'd be fun if they just got all the actors to do a campaign, and then that was the movie.
Yeah, imagine if that was the writing process.
That would have been.
If they just,
I think they did play, like it was released that they did play a campaign as their characters before the movie came out, but that's not how they wrote.
Right.
They just like made their characters that they were already casted for,
so that way they can kind of know who they are.
Yeah, right.
Well, I feel like
but I think it'd be cool to write a movie that way.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That's
what
Vox Machina.
That's
Vox Machina.
Like and they're gonna do a Mighty Nine series. Like that's what they're doing. That's what Critical Role's doing.
What if Crit Role decides, hey, let's do a movie like this?
There'd be a lot more magic.
They need to do another GoFundMe to raise $1 billion again.
And they'll do it. It would work.
No, that's the scary part.
Or they can just be like, Hasbro, I have an idea.
That'd be really fun. So yeah, speaking of Critical Role, I want to shout out Sam Riegel for being a cheeky little bitch.
If we could get that clip sent to him specifically somehow, go viral just for that 5 seconds of just like, I want to call out Sam Riegel for
being a cheeky little bitch. He was like, "Hey guys, go see the Dungeons & Dragons movie. There's a reference to one of my characters that I've played before, and it's just the sorcerer. What's his name? He was just using prestidigitation to make fresh cut grass smell.
Yeah,
I'm like, you little bitch.
Like there was a lot of people that were sure that we'd get like a background cameo from somebody from Critical Role.
At least one of them, right? Well, and so there's a magic vault door that has magic on it, so you can open it. And they're like, how are we gonna get in there? We got to rob them to get back at them, or something.
Mordenkainen's whatever.
Right, and
which the helmet is also based off of a very old spell from the game, Mordenkainen's Disjunction.
Really.
Or something like that, discombobulation, something like that.
So they're like, we need someone who knows magic, and they're like,
the original spell was like, within a certain range of like 100-something feet or 300-something feet, and it'll shut down magic systems. It was basically like counterspell, but better. So like if you were fighting like a the half elf.
Yeah, he was like, they were like, Simon knows magic, and she was like, Simon sucks as a sorcerer. He's like, well, we haven't seen him for 3 years, so maybe he's better now.
Yeah, maybe he's better at it.
He's not better at it.
Relatively.
So is he a wild magic sorcerer? Is that what I was getting?
I'm taking away.
Right? So he has this like little doodad on his hip that I think is his arcane focus, maybe.
Spinny thing that kind of looks like it should give out ye old birth control. I don't know what's going on.
I was thinking like a bingo counter. Like a bingo thing. B4.
And it's random.
Right.
Because it seems that like he knows what he's doing, but he has no idea what's going to happen.
Well, because they were like, do the thing again. And he was like, that was wild magic.
I can't.
He's like, I can't. That was wild magic. I can't do that again. And or I could try, but who's saying that it's gonna be a thing? And they're like, well, how do we get in? How do we find out? And they're like, well, a druid could get in with a wild shape. Might do something.
Simon knows a druid.
I know a druid, and then that's when we get introduced to the druid
Doric.
And
played by Sophia. Is it Sophia or Sophie?
Sophia
Lillis. She got famous for Beverly and
It. She was in It.
She ended up doing some other stuff.
She's
for
only
Netflix.
our age. She's actually a couple
21,
a couple months older than me.
And I think she's been acting since she was like 7.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But yeah, she
was a tiefling druid.
dude.
Which, yeah, for the longest time, I didn't know that's what that was supposed to be because I never saw a tail in the trailers.
Right.
And then in the movie,
I feel like it didn't show up till halfway through the movie.
yes,
You know,
because
like
I feel like there was
I
a
saw
lot of
something like when they were swimming up in the water halfway through. I saw like a little. I was like, was that a tail? And then like they're on shore, and then like I feel like that you start to see the tail after that.
And then like when I was refilling my cup at like the Coca-Cola Freestyle station,
Mm-hmm.
in the promo art it shows her having a tail, and I was like, I don't remember that being there.
Yeah, so I don't know if we're just going
I think it's
insane.
just that it was really thin.
right.
It just made it hard to notice because I swear that there was a lot of shots. They did a lot of up shots.
Mm-hmm.
Like from like for the camera being at someone's feet looking up, and it felt like we would have noticed the tail earlier,
Right.
just through circumstance. It somehow eludes all camera.
But yeah, owl bear, man. The owl bear.
I do like how many people have been like, you can't
wild
shape
shape
into
an
owl bear.
owlbear.
And it's like, oh, shut up. It's like the only people that truly go by that are people that don't think it's cool enough.
Homebrew.
Yeah, just rule of cool. It just give it bear.
Rule of cool, exactly.
Just
Give it the bear stats.
yeah, if you don't want it to go full owl bear, just give it a few stats underneath. We get it. It's a monstrosity and not a normal animal. But dude,
It's
who
one of the most
cares?
popular things in the game.
Right.
So,
I think it's fair that would be something that a person could transform into.
well, in the new 1D&D, they're talking about how you can turn into an owlbear because you have 3 different stats now, and you don't take the stats of the creature in 1D&D. You take the stats of a land creature, air creature, or water creature now.
Which
So
that
they're
kind of sucks.
So they're like, you can turn to an owlbear in 1D&D now.
I like the original, or well, I shouldn't say original. The 5e rules.
Well, they're
For
the thing is
Druid.
they're probably injecting some 1D&D into it.
Maybe. I think it's more along the lines of the owlbear is such an iconic thing.
That
Yeah.
That's not just like a straight up dragon or just beholder
Yeah.
or something
Mhm.
crazy that they could go with it.
yeah.
Right.
Because when it comes down to it, I think that like 1D&D is just so off of the chart in another place
Yeah.
that they don't even know what they're doing.
Right.
That's why they're still playtesting so much.
So yeah, we get introduced. She kicks the crap out of some people as an owlbear. I mean,
Yeah, some people that are from Neverwinter that have been cutting down the forest in the name of Forge for Lord knows what. We have a basic idea, but not truly what it
It's
is.
like 2 years.
and
What?
then,
Oh wait, like the green, like the people who live in the tree houses and shit.
The Emerald Empire, or
Emerald
whatever they're
Empire,
called. Emerald
Emerald
something.
Emerald
yeah.
Conclave.
Emerald Enclave.
Enclave. But so then they're like, "Hey, come with us," and she's like, "I'm not doing it for the money." Classic druid. thing.
Yeah.
I'm doing it
But
because
instead of just, like-
nature.
I'm doing it for my people instead of I'm doing it because of the trees, man.
Right.
Like instead of just being a hippie, it's kind of a eco-terrorist
Mm-hmm.
ish.
Right.
Very light.
She has a slingshot thing that I'm definitely gonna make. I'm definitely gonna make it. It looks super easy to make.
Yeah, slingshot, it just goes on the arm, and instead of it being extended forward, it's just on the side.
Mm-hmm. It folds over. Yeah. It doesn't look too complicated.
My thought would be a locking mechanism that keeps it from not like, you know what I mean?
Well, even
like
if you
the
shoot
f-
it
the
and it
folding
folds down,
system.
though, when you after you shoot it, like let go.
Yeah,
and it
that
folds
wouldn't
down,
be
it
that
wouldn't
big of a
matter.
problem. It just seems like that would get annoying though to a certain degree.
Well, you're not like shooting like 9 things out of a slingshot.
Well, yeah,
in a row.
I know, but I mean, I still feel like it would get annoying after a minute
Who knows? It'd be like trial and error testing.
because it would also need to be stiff enough, and it would help if you had like prongs that were like curved to the size of your arm or whatever you're using
Right.
to hold it. It would need to be something that's able to curve as well as be sturdy enough to actually hold it up.
Well, I was thinking that like it would just come back far enough to where the curves, it would just be a curved thing.
Yeah.
And
Right, but okay, so when I say like hold it up, I mean like the hinge piece.
Mhm.
It needs to be strong enough that it holds it up without it just
Yeah.
slumping over every
Oh,
5
yeah, right.
seconds. That's another reason why I think that the fact that it's folding would also cause like some kind of annoyance at being that way on your arm.
Yeah.
You'd need like some type of locking mechanism to help
Right.
it.
but like I feel like the pressure of you pulling it back would hold it up on your arm. You know.
Right. But okay. It would be still easier to have a locking mechanism, so that way you don't have to faddle with it.
Right. And it could just be a wedge on a spring. Like the wedge, like on the spring, it would sit flat, but when you pulled it up, the wedge could pulls out, and because I assume you're gonna have something hard as a base,
right,
on your arm, so the wedge could just hold it up like a doorstop or something. It's just a trial and error, what it would be. But anyway, they recruit her. She sneaks her way into the castle as a fly to try to learn about this door, and then that's when we get that thing.
Yeah, the Sophina, I believe, is the name of the mistress magic lady that helps Forge in his advisor, his top advisor. Yeah. And she's obviously a red wizard, you know how it is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we get some subplots that sound like there could be more for the future, just little subtle things. But she can sense that she's a wild-shaped fly. She's like, there's a wild shape in here. And points at the chandelier that the fly is sitting on that no one can even notice.
Right.
And just unhinged screams at it. And she transforms into multiple different animals in a chase scene.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a joke about a deer.
Yeah.
That was a callback-ish thing.
Right, because he
not quite a callback. It was kind of a short
was like,
sequence.
she could turn into a deer. And he's like, yeah, to
all
blend
those
in with all the other deer in the castle.
Yeah.
I have a question. Wasn't there like a Dungeons and Dragons movie in like 01?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's been a bunch of like movie.
I think there's been
not live action movies, but
at least one that I know of that was like live action theatrical. That was labeled Dungeons and Dragons. Right. I don't think it went over very well.
No.
There's been other stuff, like one of Tom Hanks's first movies was a satanic panic movie about how Dungeons and Dragons is going to ruin your kids' lives.
Yeah.
I think it was called Mazes and Monsters or something like that, maybe.
Mazes and Monsters.
That might have been what it's called. I can't remember. If you just look up Tom Hanks D&D movie, it'll figure itself out.
Right.
But he was going to like kill himself at the end of the movie so that way he could like, I don't know, something with be in the magic land, and someone pulls him off and he's like, I'm cured now. I see the real world. And it was basically a movie of like, don't let your kids play games.
Right.
They'll get enveloped in it. They'll want to kill themselves so that way they can go fight dragons. It's like, if your kid's on that kind of like, if he's over here thinking that he's that far into the game, there's something else going on there that like you need to talk to a doctor. That's not the game. That is the kid. There's something going on genetically. Well, not genetically.
It's like
you need a doctor.
It's like when people blame video games for violence. No, the kid's just messed up already.
Right.
Yes. It's like, yeah, that was definitely it.
It's not.
They played Animal Crossing.
We're not getting into this again.
Oh, which part of that?
The whatever it was. What's his nuts playing Animal Crossing?
Osama bin Laden.
Osama bin Laden.
He had emulators of like a bunch of games. One of them was Animal Crossing.
What did his island look like?
What did his island look like?
Connor, what did his island look like?
I want answers. I want
Connor,
the CIA,
give us answers.
the FBI. But yeah, Osama bin Laden liked to play video games.
Huh.
I should say liked with an asterisk. I say that like it was a personal. He just had a lot of emulators of games on his like
he had a lot
computer.
of free time at one point.
It's like what was he doing? I want to know. What did his save files look like? What did he do in games? Was he a completionist?
Maybe.
I mean,
Well,
he had a bunch of kids, so like,
it was his personal.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on from that. Where are we at in the movie? So they run away, and then they're like, "Oh, we have to get this helmet."
Yeah, we have to find the helmet. Mordenkainen, I can't say his name. Mordenkaine's helmet of disjunction, which will shut down the door, block the magic.
Right.
They can get inside. They can do whatever they need to, and so on. And then they have to go to the Underdark.
Right.
Well, they go to meet a paladin who knows where the helmet is.
No, well, they do, and that's where we get the
cemetery.
The cemetery scene. Did that count as a question? Yes. Which was, I wish we didn't. That wasn't in the trailer because that would have been so much more funny to see that for the first time at the theater.
I did think that the scene went on longer than I thought it would.
Of them like keep having to ask different people.
Yeah. I thought it would end up like if they were going to do a jump cut, it would just be a different corpse for like every one question that you see. Just assuming that they're just going one by one just because they need answers. And that's kind of what happened.
Well, it's because like every time Like they were like in a were following the helmet, but everyone like held the helmet like got murked
Yeah.
until they
just
reached the end, and they were like
hot potato, but the potato is death.
right.
And death looms over the helmet.
And then my favorite one was like the dude who got out of the bath and slipped and broke his neck on the bath.
Yeah.
And then they went into
That's
battle.
like that's the most real death ever.
And then you went into battle? No, I died before it happened.
You're looking for my brother.
So then it's like the paladin knows where the helmet is. So they go find this paladin. It's like, I've heard of it. We've all heard of him. And Chris Pine's like, no.
Yeah, he doesn't exist.
And so they find him. And then it's like, that's where we see the tabaxi, because he just pulls a baby one out of a fish mouth. Which, how'd the cat get in the fish mouth?
How the turntables.
Right.
Shit.
I would assume, yeah, some just dumb kid fell in water, fish ate kid.
And then
Someone attached the
It's
tabaxi child
hid
to a reel.
right, I hid the helmet.
Someone punted him into the water.
I like to think that they actually
John
put a
Wayne
baby
style.
in that. Put a baby in that costume, but I know it was animatronic. But like, imagine that poor baby that just got stuffed into a cat costume.
Five Nights at Freddy's style.
Was that the bite of '87? That's what people were saying when the fish ate the cat. Was that the bite of '87?
Can't wait for that movie to come out. The memes are already. I'm enjoying them.
Is it Markiplier confirmed to be in the movie?
Oh, that I don't know. I don't know nothing about that. I know Matthew.
I know
Lillard's in it.
Markiplier's making a movie of his own.
Yeah,
He's
he
doing his
announced
own
that.
thing.
Yeah, watch it just be the Five Nights at Freddy movie.
I swear to God.
Watch it be like, guys, I'm making a movie. I've been working on this for a long time.
Yeah,
It
the
just turns
first
out to be
trailer
Five Nights at
premieres
Freddy.
on his channel, and it's like, what?
And it's just Jack Black. Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, imagine.
Jack Black was in The Mandalorian today.
Was he really?
He plays a king. That's besides the point. We'll get into that
I need
later.
to catch up on Mandalorian.
I haven't watched this week's episode yet.
I haven't watched
so
like the last.
Really mid.
I haven't
Really?
watched the last
There was
3 weeks.
Cool ideas, and then it's just strung together in the crappiest, slow.
I thought last week's was really good.
Yeah, last week's was. Yeah, this one.
Was this
You got like multiple cool ideas and things going on, and it's just so slow. It reminds me of the Bad Batch more than anything.
Really?
And it's like, sweet Jesus,
just
do
I
something.
never finished season 1 of the Bad Batch, and now I'm like so far behind that I'm like, ugh, it's a chore to catch up now.
It's a chore to watch 13 episodes that are only like
Yeah, it's just me being lazy and not wanting
20
to-
minutes long.
Yeah,
How many Critical Role episodes do you watch?
shut up.
It's an interest thing.
I'm 4 episodes behind on that too. After being, this is after being
it's
9
about
episodes back. I'm caught up, so now I'm only 4 episodes behind.
You know what's really funny? It would
What?
take less time.
So the Critical Role is
It's-
5 episodes of Bad Batch.
Yeah, it's easily 4 or 5 episodes of Bad Batch.
How long are? Let's do the math.
They can be within 20-something minutes or like a 2-parter episode that they could have just made into one 45-minute long episode. I'm sick of
So,
them making them like it's still on Cartoon Network.
20
It's like Filoni,
times.
for God's sake.
Baloney.
What's
what the fuck is this baloney?
20 times.
I made the
No,
pun.
60 times
I
4.
apologize.
And at this point, they could just
So
do them in like
240.
an hour-long special and have like 3 of them, and then that's the
That's
whole
12
season.
episodes of Bad Batch is 1 episode of Critical Role.
If they're strictly 20 minutes long.
Right. So, shut up.
It's an interest thing. It's the fact that Bad Batch can kind of be boring and really hard and tear-inducing to watch.
Tear-inducing. So
It'll-
it's a chore to watch.
Bad Batch gets sad.
Yeah, there's parts of it that are truly sad and well written, and then there's parts of it that are like, hold on, give me a second. How do I want to phrase this?
Flat Earth inducing.
No, what's the main one's name? Hunter, I found a pirate and we're doing a thing now. I'm derailing our whole mission, Hunter. Look, Tex over there in the corner.
Crying.
That's it. That's
Is that
like,
your Omega impression?
Yeah, that's it. That's the best I'm giving you. Sometimes it's like, oh, this is a perfectly fine character, and other times it's like, sweet Jesus.
So Omega is basically Ahsoka, but with no character development.
No, she's not that good sometimes.
Well, she's
Ahsoka
like
from the
Ahsoka in
beginning had something. Being Anakin's apprentice is an idea bigger than being like, I'm a female clone.
I'm a female clone.
Which was absolutely interesting from the concept of like, so they just genetically manipulated Django's DNA.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Where does this go? That's been the subplot. The subplot. That's plot D. Not even C, not even B. They touched it in the ending of last season. They touched it in the opening sequence of the first season, right?
Yeah.
They fiddled with it at the end of this season.
I think
They
the
were just
last
like,
episode I watched
ding.
was the Rancor one,
Fair.
which was like midway through season 1, right?
I don't even know if it was midway.
It was like episode 3.
It might have been.
Oh God. Sorry.
Sometimes Bad Batch is great. Sometimes it's like sweet Mary
Has
Mother
there been
of
3 seasons
God
already?
2.
Okay.
Like the season finale of season 2. It was a lot. And there's an episode that makes you actually feel something for what's his nuts? The sniper one. Can't remember his name. Crosshair. It makes you feel something for him, even though he's kind of a cold-hearted POS. And then it's just like you're sitting there watching another filler episode after you watch this like tearjerker of like, this is the plight that clones are going through.
Oh, is this the thing where it's like Mandalorian releases this after Bad Batch released some of the best content it ever released? And
Yes.
Okay, that was the episode they were referencing?
That's kind of, yeah. And then you've just got in the corner, Bad Batch goes back to, look, here's this random thing. Look at it. Look harder at it. We're going to do this for the next 30 minutes.
Well, I think Clone Wars did that sometimes as well.
But they still found a way. And it
To
was
make it
always like,
Better. But is it just nostalgia that's helping
maybe.
Clone Wars with that?
Because there's like a small episode arc with C-3PO and R2 like doing interesting-ish things. But it was still only like 2-3 episodes out of a
Right.
season that was like over 13.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as much filler. You'd have like the Umbara arc is like how many episodes? Like 5?
And the beauty of Clone Wars is that if they couldn't write an episode about a character because they couldn't think of any ideas, they just moved to another character.
Right, yeah.
It was about the clones. It was about the other Jedi too.
Put a pin in it, come back to it.
There was literally episodes that didn't have Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka. They featured Kit Fisto. They featured
The first episode
Ki-Adi-Mundi.
doesn't have
They-
any of
Yeah,
them
it
in
has Yoda
Or they
and
just
like
had
the
clones.
Yeah, clones.
Like that. That was the beauty.
And then
of,
like there's another episode in season 1 where it's just like a Plo Koon episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Season 1 you get that little series, or I think it's 1 episode, it might not be 2. But it's Kid Fisto and his apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
His apprentice completely gets destroyed.
Murked by General Grievous.
Yeah, 100% unrelenting destroyed.
well, like, but that's the thing. Like, it's so easy. It was so much easier because they had such a big character pool and a whole lot of room to play.
They could
and
do whatever they wanted.
They could do it whatever they
and it
wanted.
would still
because
be more interesting.
because they were able to write. They were able to like do everything they were needing to do because there was a lot of uncharted territory still
There was
there.
that one episode with Mace Windu. It was like a Mace Windu episode. It was just him with a bunch of clones, and they were like climbing the mountain or whatever, and they had to get to that bridge, and the bridge wasn't turned on.
Yes.
That was a great episode. Anyway, we're way off topic from Dungeons and Dragons. We
Yeah.
got, we got talk.
I was
so
going to say,
where
I
are we
got stuck on Bad Batch being disappointing overall.
at? Where are we at in the movie? So we get they go to the Underdark. They get the helmet, because that's where what's his name, the Paladin, hid it. It's because it's the one place no one would go.
Right.
Because they would die or whatever. And they go, and then they find there's this walking stick that Holga gave her husband, but then she got back, and it's
After
like,
they
hey, look, it's a
developed.
portal gun.
Yeah, it's a staff, the hither thither.
It's even in
staff.
a oval, which I thought might have been a little too on the nose.
I mean, how many other shapes is a portal going to be in?
A rectangle door shape,
But why?
because it's a door to a different area.
This episode.
So what is
of
an oval but a rounded
the-
rectangle?
This
It's
episode
what
of,
Portal did.
Right, because it makes sense. I mean, like, circular
Welcome to the
shapes would make
Twilight
more
Zone.
sense. What's it going to be? Like what would be the outline of a D20? What would you call that shape? If it was
dodecahedron,
dissected.
or is that 12? What's 20? Isn't it dodeca? Dodeca, 210.
Right. But I'm saying, like, if you look at a D20 right now.
It's the Critical Role logo.
Right. How many lines does it have? Wait, where's your water bottle?
It's a hexagon, guys.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's what that should have
It's
been.
a hexagon.
But they could have elongated the sides.
Or even just tilt it so that way it's flat. It's just a big giant hexagon.
Anyway, they get across this bridge because the sorcerer just goes.
Y'all are nitpicking like no other.
In this case, it's just portal shape, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like,
And we know it doesn't.
I know.
And
It's not like people being like, I'm going to rule lawyer the movie.
Yeah, this guy didn't even roll a perception check.
You
right
can't turn into an owlbear. I think that's my favorite review of the
Yeah.
movie. Just people saying that. And it's like,
So then the paladin has a badass scene, which I hope they put the sword in the game,
yeah.
where
I
you
don't
could
know.
just fling his sword and then he has like a dagger thing, or
I like a ballistic knife, but it's just a sword.
right. But ballistic knives, once you shoot your knife, it's just like a handle.
Right.
This is like a dagger underneath that he was still fucking people up with. And then like we see the smite versus green flame blade, which I leaned over to Wyatt and I was like, any smite anywhere would crush green flame blade.
Immediately.
Like
Green Flame Blade, it's like an extra D4 damage or something like that.
it's actually I had it
Isn't
pulled
it?
up today.
It's
It's like
something.
a D8.
Is it a D8?
But it's just add on top of your, so you can have like a dagger with like a D8.
Right.
Was that just like a standard like smite?
The problem with green flame blade
think?
is that it's the same as normal flame blade,
Right.
which is like, why is it green? Flavor. You bitch.
It's like it's already called Flame Blade. I could
It's
be
the
whatever
green
color
eggs
I
and
wish.
ham of flame
Right.
blades.
That's the big deal with green flame blade. It's that there's no variety between that and normal flame blade. So why does the sorcerer, the warlock, and the other thing and wizards get green flame blade, but druids get normal flame blade and green flame blade? It's silly.
Or wait. Never mind. I'll come back to that. We'll look it up after the show.
Okay, and then so they fight. He kills everyone, and he's like, "You can't. It's not hard to kill what's already dead." And then they all stand back up,
Yeah.
and we're just like, And then they start running from them, and then that's when we get the big Chungus dragon,
Chungus mungus.
where he just like kind of
He's
he
a
comes
schmuck.
out of the
He's a
darkness, and he
schmuck.
looks really formidable and scary, and then he just keeps coming out of the darkness, and you're like,
And then his
um,
neck gets wider, and he's just thick.
and then he just proceeds to penguin slide down the
Yeah,
bones.
the little hillside.
I
The bone pile.
I was like, oh my god, he's a penguin. I think I said that out loud in the theater. I was like, oh my god, he's a penguin. And then he eats everyone, and then they're on their grandiose escape. They get cornered into this hole that the dragon's head is stuck in, which why couldn't the dragon breathe his air in there? Why was it just like the fumes? Like, did they explain that at all, or?
They seem to try to explain it like via How to Train Your Dragon style. That they have to release a kind of gas first, and then it sparks, and then it just does a thing. Versus just magic. Watch it shoot out of his holes.
Right. So then they do the candle finger thing. Which, what is that spell?
I don't know.
Oh, it might be prestidigitation as well, because I know you could do a small flame, create a small candle-like flame with prestidigitation. It's prestidigitation. So then they blow up the dragon's head, I assume, or
Yeah,
leave it
he
to
might
drown.
even be fine, for all we know. There's just now a new water source coming into his home.
onto the lava that's down there.
Yep.
They're making a bunch of obsidian.
Yep.
They can go to the nether.
They can go. That's how we get the nether in D&D, canonically.
Oh yeah, there's a D&D expansion for Minecraft.
Minecraft now.
Bedrock, yeah. Which looks. Oh, I mean, I don't know. I might.
I was gonna
look
say
at
I
it.
prefer the mobs from Minecraft being put into D&D.
Like zombies or
Dude.
the Ender
Creepers.
Dragon. Oh,
Creepers, Ender
Yo,
Dragon. I think shoulders.
Wither.
Yeah.
a D&D Minecraft campaign.
Now is that one
Yeah, but
in
we're-
Minecraft or is that just Minecraft but in D&D?
Yeah.
The Minecraft world in a D&D campaign.
So
Okay.
like, it's still tabletop. You're not talking about playing D&D in
No,
the
no.
game.
Because that
That's
happens a lot.
still-
Right.
Yeah, it's still tabletop.
Well, have you been seeing these virtual tabletops that have been coming out lately?
Yeah.
That where you could go into your character's eyes and play and attack as your character. Like,
I mean, like there's also like VR versions of it coming out.
no,
and
that's what I'm
stuff.
saying.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
VR, the VR ones. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna have to get a headset.
It's like I want to know how it works.
Well, apparently the D&D brand one is going to be all platforms,
Interesting.
like even PlayStation. And there's one that everyone's like, hey, why don't you put this on the Quest? And everyone would download it, and they're like, no. Valve.
No.
And you're like, oh.
That's what happens.
Right. But so they get their helmet, they get out of the Underdark with the helmet, and then they has trouble attuning to it.
Yeah, he gets on the beach and the paladin's just like, okay, you guys are on your own.
Yeah, bye. And then he's like, man, he walks in a straight line. Oh, there's a rock. There's a
Gonna
rock.
go around?
He walks
right over it.
Right over it.
Which is funny. So like, was that like an NPC maybe?
Maybe. I don't know what happened there.
The paladin.
Yeah, he was
Mhm.
definitely like
Because he was definitely
NPC there to
higher
help
levels too. Like he was way above.
It's
their
just the
level,
fact
I'd
that it's
say.
like that sequence was just an odd
right.
moment.
Like, yeah, he just not only that, but like he just didn't understand. Well, not didn't understand, but like he just didn't do like he was not sarcastic in any sense of the word.
Yeah, but a
He
lot of
was
that's
very
like a
literal.
paladin thing, though, right? It's like
It's
you're no
supposed-
nonsense person.
Yeah, there's no nonsense, and then there's taking it to the extreme of that. And I think that's why it was supposed to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, normally it's like, yeah, I don't kid around. I'm here for justice or whatever
Justice.
paladin thing that you do. And then there's just, like, the way that he was in the movie. And it's just like, I don't understand jokes. Have a good day.
Right. So
I speak one language. It is murder.
Right. And he goes in the helmet. His ancestors in there.
Yeah, his
is the
great-grandfather.
reason his name is popular. And then he's like, nah, no attune, baby.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that's also what the wizard looks like in the handbook.
Yeah, no, the wizard in the handbook wears blue, I thought. Or does he wear red?
I can't remember, but it looked way too familiar to me.
Right.
Speaking of things that were in the books, weren't like the other contestants near the end like original?
They're from the original cartoon.
Yeah, they're from the cartoon. They made them into adults instead of, like,
The children
Children.
that they are.
Yeah.
But those were the costumes and everything, the colors. The only thing it was missing was the tiny unicorn that follows them around.
And their DM.
Yeah, the
that was
dungeon
a weird
master.
bald head guy. That,
He just pops in and out, though.
yeah. Here's an axe. Okay, bye.
Pretty much.
And then, so they move on. They're like, we got to go to Plan C, which is what the portal gun thing.
Plan C was the same as Plan A.
And Plan A.
Then Plan D was the same as B.
Oh, so they go to Plan B, and then they're like, So they put this portal behind a picture on a frame, which I was like, hey, this is like really cool and like really like
It's really smart.
creative. And then
the DM was probably screaming.
they put the
Yeah.
the painting in the room, the vault, which was their plan, and then it falls face down.
Which is probably the DM being like, haha, fuck you.
And then it's just like, all right, we're gonna go to Plan C now. It's like, you need to reattune to this, and he's like, then they're like, it's Plan A, and they're like, no, it's different. Plan A has a bad taste to it, or what did he say? Plan A has like a something to it. It's like it's not Plan A anymore.
What?
I don't know this number.
Then ignore it. See if they leave a message.
I'm going to look it up real quick. Keep talking.
And then the druid's like, well, if I could stay here and keep chipping away at this and turn it and get through by turning into a worm or something. So she does that. Holga and Simon go to try to do the attune thing. Where does Chris Pine's character go? Where does Ed go in all this?
He's with Simon and Holga.
Okay. Oh, and that's when his foot gets stuck.
Right.
And then that's when they do the mirror image, and he falls apart because his concentration is breaking because he keeps his foot's stuck. And then Chris Pine peels off to go talk to his daughter. That's what happens. And then they go to the vault. He finally he gets the helmet on. His grandpa's there, and he's like, "Nah, baby." And then he punches him, and then it turns out to be him. And he's like, "It's about time you came around." And then he gets the helmet to be attuned to him. Holga's not with him at this point, though.
Blue Springs.
Holga's
Chuck
holding
line.
off people.
Yeah.
Holga's holding off.
What was that?
Blue Springs truck line. That's who called me.
You have a truck?
Shipping containers and trucking.
So Holga's fighting off people. She's being a badass. And Simon finally attunes the thing. He gets inside
Yeah, the vault.
the vault. And
Yeah.
Holga's with him at that point.
Yeah,
again,
she
right?
meets back up with him.
She's back in the vault. And then right at that time, what's her name? Druid.
Doric.
Doric gets into the vault through the painting with the worm thing, and then
They're not in the same place.
they're not in the same place. Tentacles come out of the ground, which what is that spell?
Hentai.
Not sure.
Hold
Pretty
person,
much.
or I'm thinking Arms of Hadar, but that doesn't make sense either.
I mean, Arms of Hadar with flavor.
Maybe.
Arms of
And it's
Hadar, Rule 34.
tentacles. They come get him, and she's not in the same place. But then she gets bashed on the back of the head, and then they're all about to die, or no, Chris Pine's about to die to the Red Wizard. It's like, hey, why don't you let us compete in the games? And Ford's like, nah, baby. She's like,
Sarfina's like, yeah.
they've earned
Let
this.
them do it.
So they get into the games, and it's a maze, and that's when we see the cameo from the people from the OG cartoon. They run through the maze. There's a gelatinous cube a guy runs into and starts to dissolve. The gelatinous cube is actually how they get out of the maze, because they're like, no, this isn't the end. So they come up with a plan. They go back outside of the maze, which is where the gelatinous cube is, and she's like, on the count of 3 or whatever, get in the gelatinous cube. So they get in the gelatinous cube. They go underneath the maze. Turns into a snake, and she pulls him out of the gelatinous cube, which I thought was like really cool to see that.
I did find something that would be a spell that's very similar, not exact, but it's literally called Black Tentacles.
Oh.
Casting time is 1 action, a range of 90 feet, a 20-foot square from the ground that you can see within range. It's the whole thing, VSM components, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Duration, concentration up to 1 minute. Squirming ebony tentacles fill a 20-foot square on the ground that you can see within range. For the duration, these tentacles turn the ground into an area of difficult terrain. When a creature enters the affected area for the first time on a turn or starts in the turn, it's restrained by the tentacles until the spell ends. A creature starts its turn in the area and is already restrained by the tentacles. It takes a 3d6 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
So yeah, basically vines.
Yep.
But tentacle.
So then Ford is trying to escape with his daughter.
Yeah, all the money
Yeah.
and the kid.
And then they cut him off, and they're like, nah, baby. And they get the tablet, and then like it's like, what happens? What happens with that?
He described, like, everyone's in on it. They're trying to tell him, it's like, Forge lied. This is a tablet of resurrection. I wanted to bring your mom back. He was going to bring your mom back. Simon's also there to be like, yeah, that's what was going to happen. And Forge is like, oh, well, you know what? If you don't get off the boat, I'm going to stab her.
Yeah.
And then Helga throws a potato at him.
Right in the face.
Yeah, blows up the potato.
I don't know if you know how hard you have to throw a potato for it to explode at someone's face, but I assume it's pretty hard.
It has to be. It has to be like a pitcher world record breaking. Well, not really. Like it would have to be like
Hard.
You just throw it really
about
hard.
the force of a MLB pitcher.
Depends on the potato, I guess, too.
Maybe, yeah. If it was,
Long story short, it hurts.
yeah.
It's gonna bruise.
And then Simon does like water manipulation.
Yeah, he pushes the boat out, sets up a huge wave. Everybody on the docks gets wet, or that dock in specific.
And then I think we kind of glossed over what Sophina was doing with like the Army of the Dead thing.
Oh, that comes after
yeah.
they start moving away.
Yeah.
Because that's like a contemporary moment, because they get kind of far out to sea, and then they turn around and see that happening in the sky.
Well, we talk. They learn about that how this happened before from the Paladin.
From the Paladin, because it's in the Harper's book as well.
Right.
And he was also affected by it. That's why he has the little forehead tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's also why he's able to live for over a century.
Right.
All this stuff was basically supposed to happen before Army of the Undead, you know.
Mm-hmm. So she's trying to recreate this Army of the Undead thing in the city, and she goes to do it, and she's successful in her efforts. But Chris Pine's character Edge, he's like, "Hey, what's the range on that portal?" So they shoot a portal on the hot air balloon that has a big giant picture of Ford's face on it, and then at the bottom of the boat, and all the treasure is just pouring into the city, which draws everyone out of the stadium to go get
free
money.
treasure.
And she's like, no. Then they have her fight.
Spell, essentially doesn't work. Then there's, big magic fight. We get some giant hand stuff.
Giant. So like, what spell is that? Is that Bigsby's hand? But because I thought that was homebrew.
Not exactly. That's like canonical thing.
Oh, okay.
Bigsby's
I
hand.
thought that was like homebrew from Critical Role.
The way they use it's a little bit more considered homebrew, I think, because there's other versions of like sentient Bigsby's hand that can just kind of walk around.
Really?
I thought that was Mage's hand.
Well, Mage Hand is like this big.
It's hand sized.
Okay.
This is like a big hand that can do damage to things.
Okay. I thought that was.
So it's imagine
Mage
like
Hand can't lift over 10 pounds.
Gotcha.
imagine like a mech suit but magic and it's just a hand. That.
Cool.
Bigsby's hand. Which is, yeah. So,
It becomes homebrew when you use it as Scanlan's hand.
right.
There's a few parameters I think it's not able to do.
Well, in the campaign, he said Bigby's hand. Like that, he would do Bigby's hand
Right.
instead of Scanlan's hand, like he does in the show.
Right. Copyrights.
So
Wait, is Vox Machina like outside of D&D?
Not exactly.
out of the world,
Yes.
yes, it's their own world.
Yeah, it's not in like Faerun.
Okay.
It's not in the Sword Coast or anything like that.
but it's
they use it as their system.
right.
Cool. Okay.
And
So like if they stopped using D&D, it could pursue and continue. It would just be, they'd play with a different system.
mhm.
Gotcha.
And so what are we at? They're going to fight this lady, and magic fight. Then Druick, that's her name, right? Doric. I keep saying Druick. Doric like turns into an owlbear to try to do some stuff. She's like, nah, get away from me. And then she slingshots her face to like break her concentration because she did this dragon thing, like
Yeah.
summon familiar maybe was the spell.
No, it was a stone dragon statue that was already there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like you could do like there's like a summon familiar spell.
Animate object, though.
Animate object is a spell. So she did that, and then she broke her concentration by hitting her, which was really cool. I was like, oh, break your concentration, nice. And then they get down to it. Chris Pine uppercuts her with his lute, and Wyatt and I laughed really hard at that.
Because, yeah, when in doubt, bash him over the head.
He kept doing it, too. He did it like 2 or 3 times.
And it worked.
Yeah. And then we get like a Avengers 1 Hulk moment with the owlbear, and everyone laughed at that as well. Just goo 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 goo, like into the ground.
Repeatedly into the ground.
What am I missing?
Yeah, at that point, that's essentially lines you up to Holga gets stabbed
Oh yeah,
with a red wizard blade.
which is how his wife died. You can't be
Yeah.
resurrected from it.
You need like a super resurrection.
No cleric can reverse it. So that's why they were getting this tablet, is because that could reverse it. So they used the tablet on Holga because he realizes that was her real mom,
Yeah,
the mom that she
the
grew
person
up
that
with.
she actually recognizes and actually knows.
Right. So because there was a whole dialogue about him being selfish. He was like, I wasn't bringing your mom back. I was bringing my wife back. So then like that's kind of like full circle thing. And then she comes back and she's like, you wasted it on me. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah, everybody's happy.
Happy.
Hands.
Everybody, yeah, Lord Neverwinter
And then
comes out of his sleep.
And
the
then
real
Forge
ruler.
goes into the same prison, and they've since boarded up the window.
yeah, because he tries to
Yeah.
do the same maneuver that they used to get out, but then they just run into a brick wall, and then they get. That's after he got denied though.
Yeah.
For his thing. And then yeah, end of movie.
Post-credit scene.
Post-credit scene. Me and Wyatt, I think, said the same thing. Oh fuck you! Like
Hey, it was mid. Get out.
it was the dead people that they were asking questions to before. You had to ask them 5 questions, and then they would go back to being dead.
Yeah.
There was one at the
They
very
only
end.
asked 4 questions.
Only asked 4 questions. And it was just him being like, hey, "Can someone ask me a question, please?" And then dead, right there. No one asked him a question. Just like the movie was over, but right there. So yeah, what do you give it out of 10?
Out of 10, solid 8.
Yeah. I'd agree.
I was thinking 7, solid 7.
I think 8 because it could have standed alone on its own, but it ended up working just fine. That I'm willing to see more come out of it.
Yeah,
I'd like to see these people work with something like a beholder as a creature.
right.
I want to see more weird stuff.
Yeah. But I think
It
the
felt like
Beholder was
they
the only thing,
played it
like
safe.
only iconic thing that wasn't in the.
Yeah, other than like possibly like, yeah, Red Dragon, Black Dragon. Those are like the two.
Was that a black dragon? Because it looked like it was shooting earth out of it.
No, that's just the way that the acid
The
stuff
acid
came
looked,
up.
I guess.
Because it had Black Dragon horns.
But
it started melting the ground and everybody in its way.
right. Anyway, I guess that's it.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. We had a small departure from everything going on.
But that's how we
About
usually go.
Clone Wars. Yep.
Yeah.
Wyatt, what's the secret word?
Forge.
All right, go down to the comments, type in Forge. Wyatt will give you a gold star personally.
And check
'Cause-
out our new
series
of
Connor
Mini
worked really
Melee.
hard on it.
Yeah, and I'm still working really hard on it because the last 30 fucking minutes. Anyway,
Yeah. Small issues.
yeah, the last 30 minutes.
Our audience knows us, though, and there's always struggles with everything we do.
That's what happens.
Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. Please make sure to leave a like if you haven't already. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video with a friend. Really helps us get out there. Oh, we're also on Spotify for those people who don't know yet.
Mini Melee is not on Spotify.
Mini Melee is exclusive to YouTube.
So, yeah, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.